Welcome to another episode of Prevailing Through Pain, where we have extraordinary women who tell their stories. And today we have the lovely, and I will say a great friend of mine, Stephanie Nevels. Stephanie, thanks for being on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So, Stephanie, your background I know is insurance, but before you got to be this wonderful insurance agent that you are, let's back up a little bit and talk about the young Stephanie. And what as a young girl, do you recall at all what dreams you had of being when you grew up, what you wanted to be?
Actually, growing up, my dream was to be alive.
It was to be
It was
alive.
just to be alive.
Okay, let's talk about that. As a little kid,
As
what makes you want to be say you want to be alive? Because most kids, we don't even know that anything such as death, and when we wake up, we think that's just what we're supposed to do. So why would you say that?
um, I guess because life for me was always lifing. Um, Grew up with my mom, single mom. We moved a lot. I'm
Hmm.
from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we moved a lot all over Baton Rouge. Um, Kind of a trying childhood. My mom reminded me often that she didn't want kids. And then we had my sister. Well, not we, but pretty much me. She had my sister at 13, and I
Mm.
became a mom. Because, well, I was 13. I apologize. I was 13 when my mom had my sister, and I literally became a mom because she was my responsibility. Um, Little background, married for the first time at 15 when we lived in Las Vegas.
Wait, back up. So are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yes. It's
Okay,
two of us,
so
two
you and your
girls.
okay,
Mhm.
and so you were your little sister's mom, big sister.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you said you got married at 15.
Mhm.
So how did you, because that's not even a legal age unless maybe Las Vegas is different. I don't know.
No, no, your parent has to sign for it. So I was dating a guy. He was 22. I was 15. Um, and this is when Desert Storm was going on.
Hmm.
Desert Storm came. They said he had to go to war. So he asked my mom if he could marry me, and she said yes because she found it was an opportunity. If something happened to him, then we get money. So
Wait, we get money, not you get money.
yeah,
We get
yeah,
money.
we would get money. Yeah. So
Okay.
we is her.
Okay.
So got married. He was gone for maybe about 3 or 4 months,
Hmm.
and he came back. I don't know why they sent him back, but they sent him back, and now he lives with us. Now, mind you, like I said, I lived in Las Vegas. Anyone that knows about Las Vegas on the west side, if you say Hamburger Heaven, they'll know that's like the worst part
Mm.
of the west side of Las Vegas. So that's where I lived, across the street from Hamburger Heaven. It's closed down now. But so they sent him back. He moved in with us, and he was working for UPS. So I was responsible for ironing his uniform because that was my husband. So
Were
I'd
you in
iron his uniform.
school?
I was still in high school.
Okay.
I was going to school, so I have to iron his uniform before I went to school. And make sure that my sister was ready so she could go to daycare. So, whew, if I didn't iron his uniform the proper way, he beat me up.
Mm.
So, one particular night, I told my mom, I was like, he keep hitting me, and so she called him in the room. Little tiny house, little shot wasn't even a shotgun house. It may have been the apartment may have been 600 square feet, maybe. So he comes in there and she said, "Have you been hitting on my daughter?" And he say, "Mama, you know I never do nothing to hurt her." Walks over there and puts some money in her hand. And she says, "All right, well, you better not leave no marks on her." So that told me that I was on my own. So the next time I was ironing his uniform and it wasn't the way he needed it, and he went to hit me, I burned him in the chest.
Mm.
So he has a memory of me for life
Mm.
in his chest, and we broke up that day.
I can understand that. I have a story. It wasn't a burn, but it was they laid there long enough to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So My first husband was an interesting guy. He's deceased now, so I'm gonna be as gentle as I can when I
Mhm,
tell
mhm,
our story about it. My stories about him. But he came home drunk one night, and that's before cable and all that was out. So right after the news, the Late Show, then it was
uh-huh,
that.
uh-huh,
Okay, so I'm sitting there. There was a chair facing the door, but the television was right next to the door. So I'm sitting there as the zzz starts, but I hadn't gotten up yet to turn the television off.
mhm,
He comes in the house drunk and high as all get out. He starts going on and on about how he's gonna whoop my and I never said a word. I just sat there. And then a few minutes later I could hear him snoring from the bedroom.
mhm.
So that movie with Farrah Fawcett played
Fatal
where she
Attraction?
tied him, burned him in the bed.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't burn him in bed, but I tied him to the bed. It took me about 2 hours. We only had two sets of sheets, so I had to take the top sheet, right, worked it worked it around him, and then that other sheet, I had to take the top sheet off the bed
Mhm,
to get it to tie up his legs. So I had
mhm.
him tied from the top, tied below his knees. And back then it was platforms. He had some wooden platform sandals. He had a bandana which was on his head. I had to get that bandana off his head, and I tied the bandana around. I think no, the bandana I tied around his wrist. Then I worked his belt out and tied the belt around his
This was well
ankles.
thought out.
Yeah,
Okay.
why 2 hours it took me to do this? And then I woke him up with that wedge, and I said, "You gonna beat the out of who?"
Mhm, mhm.
Girl, and when I saw he was
He tried to get
fair
up.
complexion, so his green vein popped out when he did like this. So I was like, one of us is probably not gonna make it through the night.
Mhm.
So I got in my car and drove to Louisiana, and I left him tied there through the weekend.
Mm.
But unfortunately, when I came home from work Monday, because my girlfriend I stayed with in Louisiana, we were the same size, so you know, I didn't even have a cell phone to call her and tell her, I'm coming. I just showed up at
You
her
showed
house
up, right.
about 3 o'clock in the morning after I got him tied. And so after work, I came home and I saw the light on in the house. Well, I turned off all the lights,
Okay.
and he was in there frying fish, singing and whatnot. But yeah, so
He got his mind right.
yeah, so where you said that burn, I was scared of that fish grease, so I stayed by that door. But anyway, shortly after that, I got a divorce.
Yeah.
So you said it ended that night that you burned him.
Mhm.
So who left? You or him?
He had to leave because he was living with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got reprimanded by my mom because, you
You
know,
cutting off y'all's money supply.
exactly. Exactly. So, reprimanded for that, and, I used to fight a lot. I used to fight a lot when I was younger. Um, so gangs and all kind of stuff are in Vegas. I never knew anything about gangs. So I had a fight, and he was a part of gang. So he would send people, women, girls at that time, girls to fight me. So nobody could ever beat me. So then the guys started coming behind me.
No.
So they circled we were in like a little fourplex. So they circled the fourplex, um, about to shoot it up. And I had become friends with a lot of gang members. The guys, gang members. So you just hear pop, pop, pop. And it's my friends warning us that something is happening. And then they come to the door, and Tony, who was like my best guy friend, he was like, "You're gonna have to get her out of here." So I left that weekend and moved back to Louisiana because they were
And you were how
literally
old at
trying to
this
kill me.
time?
I was 16 at this time. And I moved to Vegas at 15. So moved to Vegas, met the ex-husband like 2 months later, married like 4 months later. We were married a total of maybe like 3 years
Mm,
because my kid's father, that husband, paid for this divorce.
mm.
So that's how I got divorced. Yeah. So,
So now you're back in Louisiana.
so now I'm back in Louisiana. I finished high school. When I graduate high school, I go back to Las Vegas. But it's a new world in Las Vegas. Meet my kid's father like 3 months of being back, get pregnant, and that was literally my escape. Getting pregnant was my escape from hell.
So where was mom at this point?
Still in Vegas, still in the same place. Um, but I knew that there was no way I could raise a kid in the house with her. There was like no way. And so the boyfriend at the time, my kid's father, he went to the military, and it was literally his escape too. You know, Vegas is different.
Mhm.
It's different. So he went to the military, and when I was 7 months pregnant, that's when he came back. We got married, and when my baby girl was like 2 months old, we all moved to Alaska, and that was my new journey, moving to Alaska. So,
And
it's
this
in
is you, your husband,
and the first baby,
and
and just
okay,
one kid then,
okay.
yeah. But, it's interesting that the name of this podcast is Prevailing Through Pain, because one thing that I had to learn was people can only love you where they are,
Mm,
you know? So I had to learn that even from the love that my mom gave.
mm,
She could only give me what she had.
mm,
You know, I didn't know that then, but when I became a mother, I realized that you can't give more than what you have, and you can't do more than what you know, you know? So,
uh,
yeah, so it's one of those such as lives. And my favorite phrase is there's always a positive in the negative. I truly believe that. I truly believe that if we don't go through something, we never will understand what it's like to go through something. So everything can seem peachy creamy, and it's not really peachy creamy because you've never encountered hate. You've never encountered, because to me it was hate, you know, and growing up it makes you feel like um you're not supposed to be loved,
mm,
you know, because if you go through that with your mom, and my dad wasn't really in my life, you know, so it's like if your own parents don't love you, then that can't be what it is. You know, you're not supposed to have love. You're supposed to just battle through life and do the best that you can do. So for me to say as a kid, what did I think I would be when I grew up?
mm.
Alive.
I understand. Makes sense. So you moved to Alaska.
Mhm.
Second husband, you said you felt like that was a new beginning. Uh,
Yes, and it was a new beginning. Even though we divorced um right at 10 years. We divorced.
oh, okay.
Um I had 3 kids with him, but I think that everybody should take something out of every relationship
Mm-hmm.
that they've been in, whether it's personal, business, or whatever it is. Just take something out of the relationship. So a lot of people think that like Stephanie is superwoman, and I'm really not. I'm really not. Like I have a hard shell, but I have to, you know? Didn't have a choice but to have a hard shell. Um, a lot of people think, man, if anybody can get through it, Stephanie can get through it. I have to, you know? But I would like a lot of people to understand that um life may not be easy, but it's actually and absolutely what you make of it. It's absolutely what you make of it. And so even though I had a lot of negative energy in my life, um a lot of reasons to fail. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of reasons to fail. I can't allow it. I couldn't allow it, and I can't allow it. So to ask me what I want to be today as an adult is with peace. I want to live with peace, sincerity, people in my life that are consistent, and love. I want what I give.
Okay. And I don't think that's too much to ask for. So how long were you in Alaska?
I was in Alaska the first time because I've been there twice.
Okay.
So 3 years and then 3 years. The first time was in Anchorage, Then the second time was in
So
Fairbanks in North Pole.
how did you end up in Texas?
Oh gosh, I got divorced, and my cousin, my first cousin, whom I was raised with, kind of like my brother, because that's who I moved in with when I left Vegas. He lives here. He and his wife and his children. And I got divorced in Georgia. Been all over the place. Got divorced in Georgia, and they said, you may as well come to Texas. So I came here about 15, 16 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so how's your journey in Texas been?
Texas has been pretty great to me. I have met some awesome people in Texas. Time to go, but I have met some awesome, awesome people in Texas. I've met um lifelong friends. Um I started my journey in insurance in Georgia on a fluke, like really on a fluke. I was living on post because me and my ex-husband had gotten back together. So I was living on post and I wasn't working. I was getting my unemployment and I had put some money in the bank because when we came from Alaska, I had saved a lot of money. So I'm just kind of like hanging out. And one of the girls I was hanging with, she said, you want to come to work? No. And then she was like, it's easy work. All you
You
have to
said
do is,
no.
I was like, no. She said, all you have to do is answer phones. So it was at an Allstate agency. So went over there with her and the guy was like, all you gotta do is just answer the phones and yada yada yada. So I'm answering the phones and I have a lot of personality. I'll put that out there. So the guy, he was like, you ought to do this for real. Do what? He was like, sell insurance. I have somebody that's looking for, an agent. I don't know nothing about insurance. He was like, it don't matter. He can train you. So went, met with this guy, Dan Menifee in Columbus, Georgia. Met with Dan the first time I was supposed to be there at like 9 o'clock. I got there by 9:15. He was sitting at the desk with his feet propped up reading a newspaper. And I walked in and I said, I'm Stephanie, I'm here to meet with Dan. He shook his paper and didn't even acknowledge me. And I was like, is Dan here? He said, I'm Dan, but you can't be here to meet with me because you're late.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Well, can I try this again tomorrow? He said, yeah. And I walked out the door. So I came back the next morning at 8:45. And he was standing at the door clapping. So went insurance. Like it was that's how I started.
Well, it's funny you said personality because that's how we met.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not one that, if my insurance goes up a little bit, just a little bit or whatever, I'm not quick to jump and say I'm going to switch to another agency because it went up. It's typically
Hmm.
that's where I am. And so when I was told that you wanted to talk to us, I was like, ah. But guess what? You're right. That
You
personality,
came on
that
board.
that personality, and it was easy to switch because
Yeah.
it wasn't so much about the Allstate or whoever the agency that I think it was who do you work for
Nationwide.
Nationwide.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was because of you. So
Hmm.
to me, relationships are everything.
They really are. They really are. But I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, growing up. But yeah, relationships are everything. They are. So
So do you and your younger sister have a good relationship?
we have a relationship, don't have a relationship. Um my younger sister, um, I guess the best way to say it is she got it worse than I did.
Mm.
So I just found out she's 35. She'll be 36 in June. I just found out maybe about a year ago that she was mad with me because she and I had a conversation. She was mad with me because I left her, you know. So I was married, like I said, at 15. My baby sister had a baby when she was 11.
No.
Yes. So she had it worse than I did. Way worse. And I had no idea because when I left, I left.
Mm.
So yeah, but we talk now. I actually spoke with her this morning. We talk now, but it's we're still in a building phase because we don't know each other, you know?
So years has had gone by before.
Yeah, like
Well, I mean,
years.
you were so young trying to find your way.
Mhm. And I didn't at 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, you're not thinking because I was 18 when I had my baby. So it's crazy. My mom was 17, I was 18, my daughter was 19. Tia, Tia was like, ain't gonna be me. So Tia is 25
She's still here.
she said, I'm not having no kids. So, and my daughter has sons. So I don't, hoping that the generational curse is broke. I guess 20 would be okay, but not if you don't have your life together for kids. Um, so yeah.
Hold it right there. We're going to take a break for our sponsors and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Those in the know SIPS Consults. SIPS Consults is hiring. Confident, competent, and consistent. Starting as a consultant and a volunteer, SIPS has grown into a dynamic group of stellar sterile processing professionals, offering excellent benefits, 401k, and consultant in training program. We are hiring certified technicians, leads, supervisors, interim managers, educators, coordinators. Apply at recruiting@sipsconsults.com or dial 1-866-615-7977.
All right, we're back. Thanks, Steph. So, the relationship with your younger sister, that I can only imagine. My baby sister is 14 years younger than me, and so for you, like you said, having your own children and married and being full blown at 18, just trying to survive on your own,
Hmm.
and not even really thinking about um, our younger sibling. So,
Yeah.
how long were you all estranged?
Well, I don't know if it was estranged. It was just strained.
Okay.
So she was still with my mom in Vegas until my mom moved back to Baton Rouge. Um, so we would talk, and when I would go to visit, this is something that I found out after the fact too. When I would go to visit, I was still married at the time, and she would always want to go with me.
Mm,
Stephanie, can I just go with y'all? And then I'm like, well, no, you gotta stay here with mama. But I don't want to stay here with mama. I didn't know it was a cry for help. I didn't know. And this was when she was 8, 9, 10. So when I was in Alaska, I was in Alaska the second time when my aunt called me at like midnight and she said, Lil just had a baby. And I'm like, who? And she repeated herself. And mm, that that was different.
mhm,
And I talked to her, but I didn't talk to her because at that point, she couldn't really talk to many people because my mom had her kind of like on lockdown, like, because we still to this day don't know who the kid's father is.
mhm.
Um, so it was kind of like
And you said she was 11?
she was 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And her daughter, because she had a daughter, her daughter had her first kid at like 17, 16, 17. She has 2 kids. So it's when people talk about generational
Mm,
curses, they are real. Like they're real. And if you don't break the curse, first you have to recognize
mhm,
that there's an issue. If you don't break it, then it will continue on and on. And even with when it comes to therapy, like when you're younger, people say, "What happens in this house stays in this house." It can't.
it can.
It can't, cause it's like I'm being hurt in this house. I'm being touched in this house, and it
Mhm,
has to stay here. And then your parents are so I'll handle it. But the same person that was touching me is still coming here. How did you handle
mhm.
it? So it's just I still have to go back to people can only love you the way they know how to love you. So that 80-20 and that 70-30, there's just no such thing.
And these weren't, like you said, coming to the house, so these weren't strangers. They either had to
Right.
be family members or friends of
Of
somebody's in the
somebody.
house.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I say, don't hold guilt in for somebody else's action. Don't
Absolutely.
be afraid to go tell somebody, because it you don't have to live with that. There are people out there, and I was trying to say companies, but organizations. There are organizations out there to protect you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you went through all of the things that you went through, and it's because I know you. We've
Mhm.
never talked about the younger version of Stephanie,
Yeah.
and so I'm proud to see the woman that you are.
Thank you.
Um, I think and I'm speaking for myself, hold so much in for so long. You can only hold so much
Mhm.
in for so long before it either destroys you, or you decide, I'm bigger than this. I can't let it control me. I'm gonna
Correct.
take control of the situation, and you're not responsible for your parents' actions.
Mhm.
It sounds like your mom had you at a young age, and so
Mhm.
where you say that cycle, her mom, I don't know, maybe had her at a young age, and
Mhm.
I know from my side of the family, my mom had me at 16, my older sister at 15, and she had five sisters, and four sisters, was five girls. All of them had at least two children by the time they were 18. 2 or
18,
3
yeah.
children by the time they were 18.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things my cousins and I always say, somebody had to break that cycle, had to break that curse. And so
Mhm.
our younger generation's kind of like, it's the tears like,
You're
no,
like,
not,
"Mm-mm,
mm-mm, no, not me.
not
Yeah, it's
doing it."
something there's more out there for me. And so we have to continue to empower and encourage, our younger generation that the sky's the limit, and you don't have to marry some guy to take care of you.
Oh my gosh.
We need to teach each our young women to take care of
Take it
themselves,
themselves. Yes. But don't become men.
but don't become me. We got to
Because
find that balance. Let's
you have to
don't
find that
become
balance
men. Yeah.
because a lot of women now because women normally make more money than men right now,
Hmm.
especially the blacks. Our generation, more black women are making more money than black men.
Right.
One reason college, one reason incarceration rates, or whatever the reason, but so many women have become men. The femininity is where is it? And I know for me, I have a hard shell. But once you get in, like you in there. But you gotta get in there.
Hmm.
But I've seen some women that they are just like hard and you know, I make the money, I make the decisions, it is
Yeah.
no.
I think about that movie, Baby Boy,
Mm.
where they said how the mothers, then the girlfriends is calling them baby, and coddling too, so I
Mhm.
feel it's really important that we build our men up. I mean, because we can go way back to slavery,
Mhm.
where I read where they would take the strongest male, put him between a couple of
That's
horses,
right. And pull
and
them.
pull them
It's called
apart
breaking them.
to let every other man know, no, you aren't going to be strong, and if you
Absolutely.
do think you're strong, this is what we're
This
going
is
to do. We're going to
yeah.
destroy you. So our men have been beat down since the time of beginning of time with slavery, and then
Mhm.
I don't know if maybe some mothers try to overcompensate, but I think we tend to run our men too. And then, like you said, then with the strong uh, business woman that's doing her thing,
Mhm.
or we're saying, hey, I don't need you to do this, I can do that. We do need to find that balance. And I'm speaking from experience, saying me. I got to the point where I felt like I'm the one that works really hard, and I don't need you to tell me what I can and can't do. And
Mhm.
then on the other hand, I'm saying, but I need you to be strong. I need you to be,
Right.
yeah. And so we
Right.
really do need to find
That
that
balance.
balance.
That balance. And it's hard sometimes, you know, even like most of the relationships that I have been in with men, I can pretty much go back. Because I am so transparent, like with people. Like if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the truth, and I don't like to bite my tongue because that's gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? So if I lie to you, I gotta deal with that lie.
Hmm.
So I'm going to pretty much tell you the truth. If you ask me, was Stephanie XYZ? Well, in my opinion, I'm just gonna tell you. So I think that as humans, people want transparency. They don't really know how to say, I want you to just be upfront and honest with
Hmm.
me, but people would really prefer that. I always use the example, say that I go out with somebody and I'm acting like I'm somebody else. And then it doesn't work out because he was like, yeah, I don't like her. And I'm like, but wait, that wasn't really me.
Yeah, yeah.
Just be who you are. And people will genuinely flock to you if you are personable, if you were genuine. Like, you have to be genuine. If you are genuine and just be yourself. Like, I don't know how to be nobody else.
And because you are a strong woman, and a single woman,
Mhm.
how's the world of dating?
Great. Um I date when I want to date.
Okay.
Um right now I don't want to date. I you just got out of a relationship. He and I is like, we're like still like best friends.
Mm.
Um but I need to focus on me right now. And I need people to understand that that's okay. It's okay to just focus on you. A relationship, they there. Like there's men everywhere. If you want to be in a relationship, cool, but you shouldn't have to need to be in a relationship. If you are not happy with self, those are normally the people that need to be in a relationship because they are trying to complete themselves.
Oh, you said need to be. I feel the need to
Feel
be.
feel the need,
They
yeah.
feel the need
Feel
to
the need.
be.
I like that better.
Hmm.
Yeah, they feel the need to
Hmm.
be in a relationship because they're not happy with self. But when you're happy with yourself and you know what you bring to the table and you know who you are,
Yeah.
bruh.
Oh, I found that because that was me. I think with uh, not having that feeling the love of a father, not having a father
Mhm.
figure,
Mhm.
and somebody that looked at me or smiled at me or lied and said they love me. Oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
and if you're not full with who you are, and that was my thing for years. So you're right. You have to learn to love yourself, and to be complete in yourself,
Correct.
feel
Yeah.
whole. As my sister said, for me, she said, Karen, she said, Karen's always, she gets in a relationship where she doesn't know her value, her worth. And when she finds out that she has it all, then she'll be able to find a man that can
Absolutely.
complement her, not
Absolutely.
complete her.
Yep.
And I think so many times that's what we're looking for, someone to complete
To
us.
complete
But
us.
if we find someone that can complement us together, we're unstoppable. Hmm.
Like that is truth.
Yep.
That is absolute truth. And people don't want to work on self. Like, I'm telling you, that's why it's hard for me to accept excuses. It's so hard for me to accept excuses. Well, I had a rough childhood. I did too. Well, I didn't have a daddy. I
I
didn't
didn't
either.
even, I know, right?
My mama didn't love me. Did that. What else you got?
I didn't, exactly that
What
part.
else you got? I don't deal well with excuses, not even from my children. And they're
Hmm.
grown now. The word can't is no, no. I might need a little help, but can is not a reality, you know? So even for people that have had a rough childhood, like, you don't have to hold on to that. You know what I'm saying? You can see it for what it's worth, look through it and say, okay, well, at least I learned this from that and I got
Hmm.
this from that, and keep it moving. For me, no one was allowed to hold my children when they were kids. That
Mm,
bouncing on the lap, no ma'am,
mm,
no ma'am, no one. Me and their dad were the only ones that had access to my children like that. No one. That because I know what happens with the bouncing on the legs.
yeah.
You know, I know what happened with the hugging. If my kids didn't want to hug you, I'm not forcing them. And I tell people that all the time. If your child says no, I don't want to hug, don't force them. Well, this is such and such. It does not matter. If they don't feel comfortable, do not force them to do that. Because
Mm,
what happens is they get older and they believe that even though I don't feel comfortable doing this, I
I have
still have
to.
to do it. Mm-mm.
I agree with that. I think of a funny story that um, you being you and your personalities, that I don't think you knew how much it. I needed that story at this time. It was when my brother John died. Do you remember what you told me?
That was my husband right there. He just didn't know it.
I cracked up because you said, this is what you told me. You said, Karen, John and I never got around to telling you about us. I said, about y'all? And you said, yeah, he was my husband. He was supposed to be my husband. And I'm like, oh, didn't know that you and John Weaver. And you said, oh, but he just didn't know it. Girl, and I needed that laugh at that moment. So,
John, absolute sweetheart. Oh my goodness. Sweetheart, handsome, personality, had his stuff together. And I only met him twice. Once or
I
twice.
know because when you said that, I was thinking, I,
Yeah.
I didn't know that y'all knew each other like
Once
that.
or twice. You had something here
Where
and
you
at
beat
the
my family
house.
in dominoes, you
Yes.
said, let
Yes.
me know when your family's around so we can play dominoes because I'm gonna whoop them. I said, well,
Yeah.
Stephanie, I don't know. My family are they feel like they invented dominoes.
And what happened?
You beat all of them. I was ashamed. Look, I was ashamed of them.
Dominoes and spades.
And spades.
What?
Yep, yep, yep.
Do you have the one cousin? I can't remember his name.
Lemoyne, I'm sure.
He always act like he don't remember me. No, you know who I am.
Because you got that spanking from me, right?
Where do I know you from? The spade table.
That is funny.
But
So
yeah,
chapter 50
chapter
is
50,
coming up.
August 23rd, chapter 50. Whew. Well, moved to Atlanta. I'm moving to Atlanta. That's part of my 50. Um, and just continuing to bring peace into my life and
Mm,
continuing to I don't, you know how they say I don't have room for new friends. But I'm always game to meet people that add value. The people that just always take. I have been releasing them because to be with Stephanie, you get Stephanie. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? If you call me, I'm coming. So I can't have myself open to everybody like that because then I'm wore out. So if you got me, I got you. If Karen Cherry Brown called me, I'ma come a running. Guaranteed. I'm
I
coming.
appreciate
And
that.
and the family. And if they my family. They my
Well,
family.
you know that was my grandmother used to say, in order to have a friend, you have to be a friend.
Amen.
And you, like you
Absolutely.
said, you are that person. So I,
Absolutely.
I thank you for being you. I thank you for all that you give. And my prayer for you is that you receive all of the greatness that you've put out. And I do
Yeah.
believe that. I believe
Yeah.
that we're blessed to be a blessing. And I believe that we reap what we sow. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see how chapter 50, 51, 52, and on and
Yes.
on and on plays out for
Yes.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I
Yes, ma'am.
wish you nothing but much success in your future endeavors.
And I receive it. I receive all of it.
So
Thank you.
keep on shining, and thanks for being on Prevailing Through Pain, and know that you always have a place right here and right here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is
I
there anything
appreciate it.
that you would like to leave our viewers with?
Um,
Any words of wisdom? Any
if I could leave anything, I would say, um, be transparent.
be transparent?
Be truthful to self. Because if you don't believe who you are and if you don't believe in you, it's hard for anyone around you to. Even if you have been through divorce, if you have been through molestation, if you have been through trauma, use that as an entry point to a better life. Even though it hurt, sometimes hurt is necessary. So use it as an entry point to move further in life.
All right. Thanks again for being on Prevailing Through Pain.
Amen. Thank you.